Some brands offer you low finance, or cashback, or servicing.
Renault don't do ors. We do ands. The Renault Kadjar with 1.91% APR and €1,000 cashback and 3 years servicing, saving you thousands. Renault, the brand with the ands. Visit your local Renault dealer. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required. Subject to lending criteria. See Renault.ie.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the premiere of Solo, a Star Wars story. Yeah. I'm your host, Dan Zay. We're here from Coffee with Kenobi, here with the CWK newsman, Mr. Tom Gross.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all.
And co-founder and designer for Coffee with Kenobi, Cory Clubb.
Hello there. Thank you.
You bet. We are excited. We have someone here with us to share his thoughts on Solo. Sir, go ahead and tell us your name and tell us what you're excited about for this film.
Yeah, my name is Zach Hillison. I think the most exciting part about this film is, well, this bell's ringing behind me. Is definitely just to see a different take. Really excited to see what Ron Howard came in to do. Excited to see what obviously the Kasdan brothers wrote and really try to put in an anthology film that's not Skywalker bound, right?
Yes.
I'm really hoping to see some stuff that I don't expect. So maybe some Jabba in there, maybe some Boba. I don't know. I'm excited just to see whatever they put in there. But definitely the offset characters too. I think Donald Glover is going to be a good Lando. Just everything that Lucasfilm's already said, and some leaks that came out. Just overall excited to see something that's not Skywalker.
If you're a Donald Glover fan, you're going to love it.
Okay.
He's great.
Okay.
He's fantastic. Yeah, I won't say anything about the plot or anything like that, but it's a blast. So there's been, of course, a lot of conversation about the directorial change. How much, I mean, you're obviously a big fan. You're here tonight for the premiere. You've got an awesome Rebels shirt on. How does that, do you think people are going to be affected by that directorial change, if at all?
Well, I mean, we already knew why there was a director change because, Captain Kennedy came in and was like, it's too comedic. We don't want that. We want it kind of grungy, but some comedic aspect of the movie. But I think it's going to be good. I'm a big fan of Rogue One, and Garth Edwards did amazing with that one, and just the aesthetic and just the vibe of that movie was amazing. So Disney and Lucasfilm know what they're doing. I mean, they know what we like as the fans, and I don't think I'll be disappointed at all.
Perfect. Well, hey, do us a favor. When the movie's over, we're going to wait till the credits, of course, but feel free to stop by and give your initial thoughts on the film.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming by.
Great. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you. Enjoy. Yeah.
All right, so we this is a different spin because we're here, obviously, for the premiere of the film. We're excited. I managed to not spoil anything. And in fact, he kind of texted me at dinner, and I had a perfect poker face.
A quick story. I have some theories, and I wanted to represent them. Then I had a quick little dinner, and I was looking him right in the eye, and he was poker faced. So it was a matter of kind of testing his mettle, I think, but also getting my voice heard a little bit. But he did a great job of not spoiling anything.
Well, good. So I'd like to hear from both of you. And there's a young man in the audience who's a very close personal friend of the show. I want to get his feelings on this as well. But Tom, we're here to see a brand new Star Wars movie. What are you kind of thinking?
Oh, well, this is a great night. I've been excited for this. I've been so excited since the red carpet premiere. I've been telling the story how we sat down and watched that online and just got so excited. These are actors that I have to tell you, I'm not real familiar with any of them, but watching their interviews was really encouraging. They're great people. We were talking on the way over. My daughter and I were talking on the way over, and what I thought was interesting before Rogue One, we were all excited. Like, we kind of knew what the story would be as far as like finding the Death Star plans and all that. We knew some story, but we didn't know characters. This movie, we know a lot of the characters, but we don't really know what the story's going to be. I mean,
that's a good thought.
Maybe some things, but maybe some ideas, some thoughts. But I'm walking into this. Clean slate. I can't wait to see what shapes Han Solo, where Lando ends up, and do we get any indication of how he ends up in Cloud City in this? Right. I'm guessing not, but I don't know. So super excited for this Star Wars story experience.
What about you, Cory?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I echo what Tom says. This is something that's fascinating because this is untread waters. We heard about this a long time ago when they announced it being a solo film, a solo film, and it's interesting because it's a matter of taking a character that's so large in our pulp culture that they can kind of do good with. I'm excited to see, like Tom said, the story. I'm excited to see new characters. I'm also excited to see that the fact that this movie is one that you don't have to be a huge Star Wars fan to go see. You can actually... He's recording me now as we speak, but he's having a good time.
For our Patreon friends.
But, I mean, this is a film that I could take my wife to. I could take a brand new Star Wars fan to and have them, I think, still enjoy it, I think, on the cusp of it just being an actual, just regular sci-fi film.
Interesting. So, Sean, listeners know Sean. He is my brother. He was on when we had The Force Awakens. You were one of the people that, with Cory and I, that did immediate reactions. Where's your level of excitement for this one?
Well, I actually thought that this was Incredibles 2, but that's okay.
See, the family wit is intact.
It's.
No, I'm excited. I really don't know much about the movie, to be honest with you, but through Dan's through his podcast, through listening to the Red Carpet, I'm excited to see what's going to happen in this movie. I want to see what Han Solo is going to do, and Chewbacca, and Lando, and I'm just looking forward to getting away for a couple hours.
And I hope that's the attitude that everyone has, because as Star Wars fans, we're incredibly intense Metacritics. We're very hard on this entire thing because it's so important. It's such an important mythology to us. So we all have our own vision of what it's like, but ultimately we have to trust in what Lucasfilm is doing. They do a fantastic job. I'm very much looking forward to seeing other people's reactions to this.
Yeah, Dan, I think you mentioned the car on the ride over here, too. You said you're excited to see it a second time. You had some time to kind of capture the moments on the red carpet, meet some folks, get some great interviews. And then again, as a fan, go see the film, but also as a party of media, taking that experience on. But this is really a fan experience, I think, now, and with family and friends, and able to experience this with them, I think, for a second time. I know sometimes it takes a lot to come out of a movie and kind of come away with some thoughts and knowing what's really going on and to disseminate everything. But now seeing it a second time, you can kind of relax and have a good time.
So Tom brought something up a few minutes ago before we started recording, and it was this. When's the last time there was a Star Wars movie that opened in May? Well, it's 2005, and it was Revenge of the Sith. So that means The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Last Jedi have all been December films. So this is a very, very different feel for a Star Wars movie because it's been a long time since we were able to wear shorts to the movie theater.
It's warm outside.
For a Star Wars movie. I prefer the Christmas vibe myself just because it's my favorite time of year. I feel like that's going to impact a lot of things. I mean, box office-wise, this thing is following a couple weeks after Infinity War, which is almost impossible to overcome. I think that's almost an unfair thing, really, but it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Do you have a difference or preference seeing a new Star Wars movie summertime versus Christmas time? You obviously brought your family to these.
I remember actually getting out of second grade in Louisiana and going to see Return of the Jedi. I remember you and Mom had been sitting out with the chairs, and I think Matt Sanji's family took me over and we were waiting to see Return of the Jedi. So I think we saw the very second show. So that's kind of what this reminds me of, is being a kid and seeing Star Wars with my family. So I'm excited.
I love it. Tom, you were going to say something?
I was just thinking how so many people have stories about seeing Star Wars at a drive-in. Is that your experience?
That's me, yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard so many of those stories that I kind of feel like maybe I've watched it at a drive-in, but I didn't. But that would definitely change the factor between a winter movie and a summer movie, because you wouldn't want to see a movie in a drive-in in the winter unless you're in the South someplace. But it's definitely a different feel for me. I have that, like, when we came here, we've done so many broadcasts from this location at Christmas time for a Star Wars opening that I kind of miss that Christmas feel.
I do too.
And the sun is out while we're broadcasting before a 7 o'clock movie. And so it has a different environmental feel to it But I will tell you, it's not stealing any of the excitement from me.
Well, that's a good point. So I heard some critics today talking about the film, and they had said, and I'm not going to say anything about the movie at all, this is not about the movie, but they had said one of the things that was so great about the original Star Wars films is that you had to wait 3 years between movies. Now this is 6 months. Now the next one's not going to come out for a year and a half, so that's different. But does that take away the special nature of things? Because, I mean, honestly, it does for me a little bit. I mean, how could it not? I mean, if I had Christmas every 6 months, would it still be Christmas?
Yeah, so I think what I talked about before we came over here was, in general, the release dates and release schedules. One thing that came up for me was I talked to some friends at work, and one of the guys said, I'll just see it when I see it. And the fact of it being just another Star Wars film or another Marvel film that's, I'm going to either hit or miss. Because I think we can get oversaturated, I think, over time as these release one after another. I'm glad to wait another year and a half before we actually see our Star Wars film. We can just kind of get a break.
Right. Well, I mean, we've got about, at the time of this recording, we have 50 minutes until the movie starts. I really don't have a ton more to say, to be honest. I'm looking forward to your instant reactions to this movie, all of your reactions. It's going to be incredibly fun. We're also going to tape a mini Patreon show, getting some possible spoilers in there, just for the Patreon listeners. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll definitely let you know. But for right now, I hope everybody has an exciting time seeing this movie. Anything you guys want to say before we sign off?
Do we say May the Force be with you with this movie?
Ooh.
I guess we don't say that. I can't wait. Let's go in.
Let's do it.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first.
Hello, everybody. We are back, and now we have all seen Solo, A Star Wars Story, and I am practically foaming at the mouth to hear what the three of you think. So, Cory, take it away.
Yeah, it exceeded my expectations, and I had a lot of expectations going in. I just found myself smiling, getting excited. There was really no moment in the film to me that slowed down necessarily. There was always building momentum. Obviously, there was some callbacks to a lot of things from the other movies. The characters were all great. There was parts of the movie for me that were shocking all the way through, from the beginning to the end. I was shocked to see events happen, characters to interact, choices to be made. I'm trying not to spoil anything, right. But because I don't, because there's a lot in this film, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that I was awed by the fact that they could tell a story that really had a lot of character, a lot of drivenness to it behind just the Han Solo character as mythos. A lot of the mythos of all the characters, Lando, the Millennium Falcon, all those callbacks were so good, I think, because I knew it was coming, but I didn't expect the way they did it. So a lot of fun.
Coming into this movie, I had a lot of very specific expectations, but very generally, what I wanted to walk away from this movie with was a better understanding of Han Solo, who he was or is as a character, and what drives his decision-making through the original trilogy and into, I guess, fatherhood for him. And I will say, I'm walking away from this movie feeling that I have all of that. His decision-making in this film, his mentor in this film, the choices that he makes, good or bad, just really kind of fill in the cracks of the character and make me feel like I can walk away saying, I know Han Solo a lot better going forward into the original trilogy and into the future. And so, Dan, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, you said you put the Millennium Falcon in there as character, and we had talked about that C-3PO can be a character because he's a sentient being with ideas and thoughts, and he drives the story.
I don't really
Something happens in this movie that's going to bring that argument to a new level. Cory
we can't. He's nodding his head. So, but I want to go to our fourth member here, if we can, and it's my daughter Kaylee. She came to The Last Jedi with us and had some
Star Wars Reads Day.
And she was with us on Star Wars Reads Day. And so, Kaylee, when we just walked out of the movie, so how do you feel about this movie? What we've been talking about? Did it do the things that you wanted it to, or was it like, wow, you were not expecting this?
I wasn't expecting, like, a few of the things. Like, some of the things I could tell, like, I was expecting it, but then there were other things that I was like, whoa, I was surprised.
Who is your favorite character coming out of this? And remember to keep it general and don't say specifics, but who is your favorite character after watching this movie?
Kira.
And Kira, what is it that you liked so much about Kira?
Well, I like her ponytail. And
of course, important things. She did have a pretty awesome ponytail, I will say. What else do you like about Kira?
I like how she's brave to, like, do anything that she puts her mind to.
Yeah, she makes some choices that were surprising. I know they were to me. So, all right, thanks for those thoughts.
Still not a character. Your argument goes from a 1 to maybe a 1.5. No. Yep. No way. Yep. Well, we can break that down later, and we will, gentlemen. We will. So, what do you guys think I thought of it? I don't know. Did you? None of you read my review? Either. It's fairly similar, although I got much more joy this time, and I think a main reason for that is because it's sort of hard to go through meeting George Lucas and a red carpet event. Like, honestly, right before the movie started, I thought, oh yeah, now this is actually the reason I'm here. But it sort of, in a way, wasn't. Because that whole experience was so amazing. I don't know that anything could live up to that. I thought this movie is incredibly fun. Just makes me smile. It definitely makes me smile a lot. I think that Alden Ehrenreich is brilliant, right? Yes. I had said he makes you forget about Ford. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think I leaned over to you, and there was a couple moments where I was like, he's killing this.
Yeah.
And it was like a good portion just like into the beginning that I was like, I'm feeling this. I didn't have one moment necessarily that I felt like, oh, this is not Han Solo, or I wasn't pulled out of the movie because of his acting. I really felt he was invested. Every kind of smirk and action I felt was something that Han would do. A young Han Solo. I think he really did his homework. I think they did a great job. I definitely can see him taking this role to new heights, I think, for the character itself. And learning this piece of history for Han Solo. It's like you said, it's there's so many things going on in my head right now. Now I think about it, it's so many cool things to see him do on screen. Just aspects of his life that we only hear about in some of the other films.
The first level of, I guess, acting when I'm watching a movie is, and this is just the surface level, but when I'm watching the movie, do I ever think the actor's name when I'm watching the film? And never once did I think, oh, he's like, I didn't even have the thought in my head like that, oh, Ehrenreich is doing a fantastic job. I never even thought actor here. And I was completely invested in Han Solo from the start. And then when we started adding the other characters, when you said he did his homework, who didn't? I mean, I was sold on every one of them as Lando, as Han Solo, as Chewbacca. It was like a step wasn't skipped. I was completely sold on the characters. And I love what Jonas said on the red carpet before the show, and he tips his hat to Peter Mayhew and the character, and he said, I don't have to be me. I just listen to him, and I have a great character, and I've got it. And I'm sure all three of those, Donald Glover, Alden Ehrenreich would say the exact same thing. So a non-issue for me completely.
Okay, so you alluded to Donald Glover. Let's talk about Donald Glover, and then we'll break down a little more of the idea of the film. Cool as the other side of the pillow, right?
Oh man, he was so cool. I feel like I'm walking away from this movie just a little cooler than I was when I came in. If I were single, I'd have some things to say. He was fantastic. Like, I saw Billy D. Williams in the movie, and Donald. I was almost like it was the same person. I mean, he did such a fantastic job with the coolness, with the cunning kind of player that he is. And when I say player, I mean, the gambler, every level of it, the scoundrel, and his love for his ship. How cool it all was. As Kaylee said, when we saw Donald Glover on the red carpet while watching the live stream, it was chill.
Don't worry, your friends probably won't hear this. All right, what about you?
It's so great because I love Donald Glover going into this, him getting the role. Obviously, fans were pumped for him to get this. He was excited to get it, I think. And going in, people were on board with this. They were like, this is the perfect casting. And there's something to be said about a perfect casting, right? I mean, they're going to do a good job. I think he blew it out of the water in the sense of getting everything right. Like I said, the smoothness, the inflection, the jive, if you will. I think he did a great job of that. I think also, though, getting a little back to Ehrenreich was the fact that he didn't overshadow Ehrenreich in this, right? And I think that's a great aspect to have. He wasn't looking to show him up. He wasn't looking to overshadow that character. And he does as Lando. In some scenes, right, he's trying, they're competing, right? But I think that's all for the character. I think that's perfect. I never thought, this is a Lando movie, or Lando's really taking control. Like some movies you'll watch and you'll see the secondary characters come in and go, I loved so-and-so in that role or that actor because they just did the film for me. This was Ehrenreich's film, I think. I think he did a great job of Solo, and Lando and Donald Glover just built right onto that.
The entire cast is marvelous. My favorite thing about this movie is the cast and their legitimate actual chemistry. Now, yes. The thing that I said after I saw this movie the first time, and I still feel this way, although it's up a little more, is I really, really, really like this movie. I don't love this movie, but I really, really, really like it. So before I explain why, I want to hear kind of where, because I already know where I want to rank it. Whereas with The Last Jedi, I still think that movie's unrankable. But this is very rankable. I'm not down on it, but I don't... Well, go ahead.
I want to say, when we're talking chill, Dan, you are so chill right now because you've had almost 2 weeks to simmer. Right, he's had time to simmer this. I'm still feeling like I'm whoo, whoo, whoo. Yeah.
I'm really glad.
Yeah. Gosh, this has a lot of this isn't the word, but I'm going to just say it because it's what's in my mind. It has a lot of rewatchability to me. I want to see this movie again, and
how about tomorrow?
And not for that's hey, I'll be here tomorrow for this, but Last Jedi, I wanted to see again. And Force Awakens was the same way. It was I wanted to see those again to catch this or to catch that. I want to watch this whole movie again. And I want to see the whole spectacular show again. I need more time to think about whether I love this movie or whether I just like this movie. But one thing I can say right now is I was thoroughly entertained. The acting was seamless to the original cast, and so seamless that I didn't even think of it as being seamless other than our conversation here. My mind just went believable right from the start. So I'm going to have to think about that. We'll have to talk about that another time when we... But
next week we'll do our full...
Yeah. Maybe I'll have an answer of whether I love it or like it then. How about you, Corey?
Now, don't worry. When I say I like it. Do you like them? I do like it. I do like it.
Does that mean?
I never heard that when you were a kid. You like someone. I like. Yeah. There's potential, but it's it's probably not going to happen.
Wow. It's a first on this show. For me, yeah. Originally, I know if you guys went back to one of our older shows and listened as they announced the film, I was sour on it, man. I was like, this should be made.
I remember that you and McGee. Yeah, you and McGee were definitely.
It was the fact that like this is a character that they shouldn't really touch, and I've come around because of the trailers. Really put it off for me. I was like, okay, this looks like it's gonna be fun. I'll see if I can get into it. The casting came out. We got to see a lot more of what was going to be kind of on screen. And then I was like, okay, I can get into this. This looks like fun. And the more I thought about it, I thought this is a great idea for a Star Wars film. Now, going in, I was excited because it was that type of film that you could go watch with anybody, new fans, spouses, friends that just aren't huge Star Wars fans but want to go have fun at the movies. And that's why I kind of come in with sometimes with bigger films like this. Is this a film? Is this a piece of history that can go be on the screen and live on the screen and work there? This, I think it does. It definitely does. I mean, it's one of those things to me, if you strip away the core of it, the Star Wars of it, and let it stand on its own, does this stand as itself as a space adventure film? I think it does. Absolutely it does. It tells a story from beginning to end. We meet characters along the way that are archetypes. They fulfill kind of the archetypeness. There's twists and turns. There's like action, adventure, romance. It fills all those checkpoints for me.
And the music.
Absolutely. We were talking kind of on the way out. The music was a little bit different. Something piano and just a uniqueness. But we saw it on Rogue One too, right? So something a little bit different. And that's one thing too. But this, I came with Rogue One feeling it was too different. It wasn't wasn't like a Star Wars film. But this isn't either. Did I love it? I'm on the cusp of love. I want to go see it again because of all the great scenes, the laughs, the interactions, the things I didn't see. That's what I want to go see. So rewatchability is so high for me. I could pop this in on a Saturday and let it run in the background and still catch glimpses of stuff. I think if that's the possibility it has, then I think it works for a film. Now, to compare it to like Jedi or The Last Jedi that just came out, you can't really pop in The Last Jedi and not sit down and be invested and okay, I'm gonna watch this scene and really know what they're talking about here. This you can sit down and have fun. That's what movies should be. I think it should be something you can enjoy on the idea of the fact that I don't have to sit there and think about what's really invested these two characters because they're talking about something very important in this whole string of stories. This is one you can pop in on a Saturday afternoon and have a good laugh and have a good time. So I think it's definitely that for me.
I want to go out on a limb and say that you like this more than The Last Jedi, which isn't a bad thing.
I did because I went into this film with no anxiety. I went into this film with no pressure. There's no stress. Sit down, have some popcorn, and have a good time. We're not trying to blow you out of the water. We're trying to have a good time at the movies. You brought your daughter. She enjoyed it. I mean, there's something to be said about taking your family or friends or having an experience in the film theater. And I think that's what does it. That's what does it for me for this film. And I'm not saying any Star Wars film can't do that. I think it's different than that. When you go see Episode 9, you're going to be stressed out. You're gonna be honestly, it's true. Yeah, I mean, I tell my wife these things. I get so nervous. I come out with headaches because I'm so, I want to soak everything in through my eyeballs. This wasn't that. I'm coming out with a smile on my face. We were laughing, joking. I mean, that's what it was for me, is a happy feeling, and that's what I'm sticking with. I love this more than The Last Jedi. There's your answer.
Yeah. I want to see what you think too, Tom, but I don't even think it's in the same universe as The Last Jedi. And I don't mean that literally. Why do you say that? I say that because this is the only Star Wars movie of all, 10. There's 10 now. Because Episode 8, and we got Rogue One, and Han Solo. It's 10. This is the only film that doesn't have cost. Like, there's no galactic scale anything to this. It's really just about a couple of thieves, really. And so there's no immediate impact, and I don't want to ruin this for you, but Han Solo does not change or grow at all through the entire movie. He's completely stagnant. He doesn't grow at all. I don't know if that's true. I think it's true, and it's to me that's I'm glad that you do. That's to me is what keeps it from being a movie that I love. The Last Jedi is so complex and so profound, and with many multifaceted characters. This does not have that. Now, that doesn't. This is how you and I were when we saw Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time. If this were a Marvel movie, I would rank it in the upper tier, no, it would be top 10.
Really?
Of Marvel movies. If it were a Marvel movie, if it was the same, you know what I mean? Like it'd be more like I rank it above Spider-Man Homecoming-y type, but it's not. But it's not Captain America. No, Black Panther.
You can't, you're on the wrong universe.
No, I'm just talking about like a feel, just an atmospheric feel. I'm saying like the only way I could compare this is like in the Marvel movies, you've got, Cap 2, Winter Soldier, and then you've got the Incredible Hulk. Right? Like they're all in the same universe, but Cap 2 is so heavy and so smart and it's got so much going for it, whereas Hulk is just a mindless movie. This is not a mindless movie. This movie makes me very happy. When I leave, I'm very happy and I smile, and I would just love being in that universe. Like every time I watch it, I just think, this makes me so happy. I don't ever want to stop watching Han Solo because he's just so engaging. But for me, and this is just for me, I like to think. And this movie didn't really make me think. It made me smile. It made me happy. It filled my heart with joy. But it did make me think. Doesn't mean it's bad, but that's just the kind of thing I prefer.
So I think what you're missing a little bit is Cap and then Cap 2, Winter Soldier. I agree. Winter Soldier is top-notch, my favorite Marvel movie. Yeah. Fantastic movie. But here's what it's got going for it. Cap 1, right? You're advancing forward versus going backwards. You're not going back and seeing him in World War II. You're seeing him advancing the character, right? He's in a brand new community. He's seeing his friends for a second time. And there's a whole bunch of history there, right? We're going backwards with a solo film. It's a prequel. That's what it is. So we have a lot vested because we know what he does become. You say he doesn't change or he doesn't change throughout the film. I disagree because of the experiences he has with this film. We see him. I don't want to spoil anything, and then we'll talk more. And this is just off the top of my head as far as at the end of this film, I felt like he grew into a person that he had to be.
Was he like that at the beginning?
No, he didn't know what he wanted to be. I think it's because he knew he was making the right steps and didn't know the cost. He didn't know what was going to happen, and by the end of this film, he knew the cost. Because I got a couple ideas for that, but I'll keep that for our Overblown show.
Okay, so as always is the case when we're chatting, is you help me think about something that I hadn't thought of. Much like with writing, I think writing helps me think about things differently, and talking to my friends about stuff helps me think about things differently. One way that he does change, and I don't even think it's a stretch, but you help me realize it, is he realizes he doesn't need to be identified through his relationship with this woman that he loves. It's not like with Ray. Ray is much more complex, but he's finding his identity through. He's still learning it, but it's not based on I'm going to do this and this to get the girl.
Right now.
Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So do you understand what I'm saying? Like that has helped me, but Tom hasn't. He had to talk for a while.
I don't know. I think that I feel like he also, at the end of the movie, has a bigger view of the impact of choices, and a more, I don't know how to say this without giving too much. He gets a better sense of a greater good, but I don't know. I feel like he changes. I need to think a little bit more about that because.
So you see my point, though?
I do see your point, but he's also Han Solo. He's also Han. It's part of who he is. He'll always be a scoundrel and a nerf herder. But
my favorite line is
when
Kira says to him, and I won't say it, but when she says she knows who he is.
Yeah,
that's the best line in the movie.
Yeah, I mean he'll always be that, but I think he grows. I'm curious to hear what Cory has to say.
I'm trying not to give away too much, and maybe it's too much in saying, and you can feel free to edit this out because I'm going to say trying to make it so in the beginning he chases after the girl. At the end, he does not.
That's what I was trying to say.
Right, but I'm saying the sense of he understands now. He understands the stakes. A couple scenes, he thinks he knows what's going to happen. Everybody else around him says, "No, you don't know what's going to happen," and he understands then once events happen. That grows somebody. Those experiences grow somebody. When you have a connection with somebody and that person wrongs you, or that person betrays you, or falls in love with you, or whatever that momentous emotional feeling is attached to, it's going to change you. It's going to change the way you look at that person, the way you look at situations. It's there.
All right. Well, when we're able to talk about this more in a more spoiler fashion, I think we can help make this more clear.
No, it's great. I think it's great about this. I mean, there's a lot more here to digest than I thought there was. Like I said, it's a great movie to sit down and watch and have a good time. But there's a lot invested here, I think, to talk about and think about. I mean, I thought it was just a one-off fun time deal, but there's a lot here.
Okay, so real quick, because we're going to wrap this up, because we're something else we need to do. Give me the thing you like the most and the thing you like the least, and then we'll wrap up. Do you guys want to think about it, or you want me to go first?
You go first. I'm fine with you going first.
Okay. The thing I like the most about it is Alden Ehrenreich. I just love him as Han Solo, and he's so captivating and charismatic, and he's just got the right amount of charm and arrogance and uncertainty and kind of stupidity. And that's what Lawrence Kasdan said that, at the press conference. He said, he's kind of stupid, and I like that. And I was struck by when Kasdan said that, and I'm like, yeah, he is. And you can see it all throughout, which is one of the reasons why I don't think he changes all that much. But I just love him. He's wonderful. And again, if someone can make me forget about Harrison Ford, that's monumentally fantastic. So if anyone has any criticisms of the movie, that's completely fair. But I have a hard time believing anyone would have a hard time with Ehrenreich. The thing I like the least is L3. I don't care for L3 very much at all because she's not a metaphor. She's like this didactic person that has like this agenda. And I kind of felt a little bit like I was taken out of the movie at times when she did certain things because I felt like it was a little, a little forced. And it was a little too real world. I watch Star Wars for an escape. Metaphor is one thing. Metaphor is more powerful. And this went the other direction. See what I mean?
The one thing that, I see what you mean about L3, and I would agree with you in some ways, and there are other parts of it that I really liked about that droid. But something that I really liked about this, and I'm not making light of it at all. I loved the Millennium Falcon and the backstory of the Millennium Falcon.
It's a character.
It's so cool, and I'm not trying to go that route at all, but I had so much fun seeing the Falcon. I had so much fun with the firsts with the Falcon. There's so many cool things about the ship, and I've always liked that ship. That's always been one of my favorite ships in the whole galaxy. So that was one of my favorites. And the thing that I didn't like, what comes to my mind right now immediately after the movie is something that I can't talk about. And I don't know that I liked that bit.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So it was toward the end, and it involves the character Kira, and everything in the movie fits except that, but there's a time when maybe I'll understand a little bit better to where I'll be like, that was really awesome.
When you watch it the second time, you'll see hints.
Okay, so maybe it needs time. Maybe I need more explanation, or maybe I need another story. I don't know. But if I'm sitting here right now, because one of the reasons I say that is because, Cory, you mentioned that this is a movie that people can come and watch who don't know. We said that about Rogue One as well. Someone who's never seen Star Wars before in their lives could sit down and watch Rogue One and see it for what it is. It's just, and I agree with that. I agree with that statement with Solo as well, except for that one piece that just absolutely made me jump out of my seat.
My favorite thing. There are so many fun things. There's so many great things. And as we were talking on the way here, Dan, you mentioned Ehrenreich, how much you loved his character and the actor. And you said it in your review on the show. I was listening. I actually kind of skipped over that because I wanted to take it in for myself without having preconceived notions. But I agree with you that. I mean, I think I was thinking as you guys are talking, and I thought, what was my favorite character moment or something? It keeps falling back. Oh, I like the Chewie moment, or I like the Kira moment with Han and Kira was really nice. Oh, and Beckett was really great, and him and Han. I kept thinking, this character and Han, this character and Han, this character and Han. Now I'm realizing, I really liked Han Solo. I thought it was fantastic. Was he my favorite character? No, but I think that's my best thing coming out of this film was Han Solo. The impact he has as far as who he is, it never dampened for me. It was never like called out and said, oh, he won't be exactly as cool as you see him in A New Hope, or I never lost that luster. It was always built upon, even though it was a younger version of him, I felt like he was still building character in the sense of understanding who he was as a whole. Now, my least favorite thing, I don't know, it's difficult too, because the movie itself I think is well-rounded. The ending is a little bit disjointed, if you will, for me. From scene to scene to scene, I felt it could have been cleaned up a little bit more, played out a little bit differently. I don't know how you do it, but it felt a little bit like, is this the end? Oh, wait, no. Is this the end? Oh, wait, no. Is this the end? Oh, wait, no. And I'm not trying to say there's multiple endings, but the essence of where are they leaving us at the end of this movie. And it does end in a kind of a fun way, but it's a way of like, I wanted to see a little bit more. I kept thinking to myself, I want this to keep going. So it was a little bit jarring, I think, towards the end, where I think maybe there was some not really sure what we're going to do next type thing, and maybe that's just it. We're not really sure what we're going to do next, so let's just kind of leave it ambiguous. So that might have been my lowest counterpart. And I will have to agree with Dan a little bit. L3 was a little bit... Everything that she seemed to say was a joke or an agenda, and I didn't bring value necessarily too much to the film.
It was a little too Marxist for me. So there's that. All right, so we're going to wrap this up, and the reason is because the bell is ringing, and we just want to leave you with a few of our initial thoughts, as we always do after we see these films. Cannot wait to hear what everyone else thinks about this. The reviews are coming in, and people seem to be really, really happy with this movie, and I would expect nothing less. It's wonderful. What we're doing now is we're going to record a Patreon immediate reaction show, but that one's going to have spoilers in it. So if you don't want spoilers, obviously... Don't listen to it. We want you to be a Patreon contributor, of course, and for $5 a month you get these exclusive shows. Now, that doesn't mean the reviews from our spoiler perspective won't be there. Next week, we're going to record our normal show, and it's going to have the three of us and many hosts from the Coffee with Kenobi family. We're going to really break it down. And our Last Jedi one that we did is still the most downloaded show we've ever had. And I don't expect that to be any different for Solo, because the conversation is great. It's going to be, a couple hours of stuff. But we're going to record the Patreon show now, so if you want to listen to that, it will be available for you this Sunday on Patreon. You can find that through coffeewithkenobi.com or go to Patreon, and you'll see it there. So, for Cory Clubb and Tom Gross, I'm Dan Z. We will talk to you soon. This is a podcast you're looking for.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here